It is good to have you join me on another episode of Service to Humanity, a program that keeps you informed on the ongoings in the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development and its agencies. Planning, research and statistics plays an integral role in actualizing the objectives of the ministry. We had a very interesting chat with the Director of Planning and Research of the ministry, and he took us through some of the activities it is involved in. We will bring you a part of that interview. We will also bring you updates on the enumeration exercise, which has begun in some parts of the country, what it aims at achieving and why it is important, the roles played by the National Youth Service Corps in the enumeration exercise, as we see a practical example of some schools in the FCT where the exercise was carried out. These and other stories as the program progresses. Do stay tuned.
Across the 6 geopolitical zones.
Use this money for what it is meant for, efficiently to take care of their family.
In 36 states and the FCT. Over 6.4 million of Nigerians poorest of the poor in about 1.3 million households receive conditional cash transfers of 5,000 naira monthly under the Household Upliftment Program of the federal government. Their joy knows no bounds.
And the government is very well because they do work for us.
Tell me to do any other thing, my family.
Reducing absolute poverty, promoting shared prosperity through the Conditional Cash Transfer Initiative. The Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development in service to humanity.
As the enumeration exercise commences in some states, why is it important this exercise takes place, and how is it different from what was done in the first phase of the program? What is the role of the National Youth Service Corps in the exercise? All these are answered in our first segment, Management Diary. Keep watching.
The federal government, through the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, has begun the enumeration exercise in various states across the country. This is sequel to the directive of Mr. President to scale up the National Social Intervention Programs. Over 9 million pupils have benefited from the National Homegrown School Feeding Program, and it is expected to reach additional 5 million pupils by 2023. In Nasarawa State, the enumeration of 196,873 pupils has begun. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, was represented by the technical advisor to the ministry, Abdullahi Usman, stated that the exercise is aimed at putting faces to names and identities of the children by taking their details, pictures and biometrics. The minister explained that since the inception of the program, the ministry has been dealing with only the names of the pupils sent by all the states. The enumeration exercise is to prove that those being fed are actually human beings. The minister added that in Nasarawa State, a total of 196,873 pupils are fed in a total of 1,203 schools, with over 100,000 cooks employed and more than 100,000 smallholder farmers participating in the value chain. According to her, the National Homegrown School Feeding Program has become a serious potential for socio-economic development and needs to be strengthened, scaled up and sustained nationwide. The Governor of Nasarawa State, Engineer Abdullahi Sule, appreciated the President for the introduction of the NEWAGE intervention, which is aimed at assisting the poor through the provision of 1 nutritious meal to pupils in public primary schools across the country. He gave assurance of his administration's support and commitment to ensure that the program succeeds in the state. As the enumeration for the National Homegrown School Feeding Program continues, the role of the National Youth Service Corps in the exercise cannot be overlooked. The Director, Community Development Service, NYSC, explained the role of the core members in the enumeration exercise.
NYSC as an agency of government is to supply the manpower, the human resource that will go around the schools to actually capture the children for the purpose of providing this food for them in schools.
The Director, Community Development Service, stated that the NYSC was established for social interventions as this, and since they are in every nook and cranny of the country, they are the best agency to be used for the enumeration exercise.
You know, NYSC is established for intervention into social issues like this. And when we have issues like this, we deploy all our core members that are serving all over the Federation in all the nooks and crannies of the country. So when we deploy them for services like this, they are there because they are the people that have the best reach. Core members are in all nooks and crannies. And so if you want to serve, if you need any agency that can reach you, not even to local government or wards, even to the homes, is the core members that have the capacity to do that. And aside from that, you know they are graduates. They are good in ICT. They are good in anything you want to give. So manipulating and using the gadgets that is used for this is very easy for them. That is the second. And the third one is that they are unbiased. They are going to do the job the way you ask them to do it. Very credible and full of integrity.
Salahu Abdurazak explained that if the core members are given an opportunity to participate fully in the NHGSFP, it would be a good idea as a good number of them work in schools across the country.
Eradicating poverty, social inclusion, and moving people to a better life are some of the major mandates of the ministry. In achieving these mandates, planning is essential and policy formulation and implementation is crucial to the success of every intent. In this segment, we bring you part of our discussion with the Director, Planning, Research and Statistics of the Humanitarian Ministry as he takes us through some of the policies put in place by the ministry to help achieve its mandate. Don't go away.
Since its creation in 2019, the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has been identified as the face of hope to the poorest of the poor. It has redefined emergency response, giving it a human face. It has also provided leadership and coordination for humanitarian response in Nigeria. The ministry operates on 5 strategic pillars, namely strengthening policies and institutional frameworks, enhancing humanitarian coordination efficiency, building evidence-based systems for transparency and accountability, enhancing program delivery through effective monitoring and evaluation mechanisms, optimizing funding and resourcing opportunities. Interventions come and go, but strong policies and institutions are what engenders change. In acknowledging this, the ministry has in the last 2 years worked hard to formulate policies that have translated into strong institutions. The Director, Planning, Research and Statistics of the Ministry, Rafael Obi, speaks on some of the policies and their outcomes.
One of the policies we have done is, one is the policy on aging, which the Federal Executive Council has approved to take care of the aged people in Nigeria, those from 70 years and above. Then we also have the Disability Commission, the National Commission for People with Special Needs. So that Disability Commission takes care of the disabled, everything about them. We also have a policy on Senior Citizen Center, where a center that will be developed in different parts of the country, where elderly people can go and have a very social and relaxed life. Then we also have the National Policy on Internally Displaced Persons. It's a policy that has addressed all the challenges that are faced by internally displaced people who are affected by insurgency, conflicts, and all other social problems.
Other policies the ministry is working on, reviewing or initiating include National Social Protection Policy 2016, Durable Solutions Operational Guidance Document, National Migration Policy, Protocol for Identification, Safe Return and Rehabilitation of Trafficked Persons, National Disaster Risk Management Policy launched in 2019, amongst other documents. Implementation of some of these policies have given birth to some strong frameworks and institutions that will shape national response to social intervention programs. The National Social Register, as well as the National Information Management Systems (NASIMS), are two products of National Social Protection Policy. The ministry is working with agencies to ensure that these products reach the desired population.
We are working in deep collaboration with the National Orientation Agency that is in every corner of Nigeria. We're also working with the NYSC that are everywhere. And then we also work with traditional rulers and opinion leaders, youth leaders and women groups in all communities in Nigeria. So when we roll out any program, we have focal persons in every state and local government that will always, through the NOA, community mobilization officers, and the NYSC, cascade the information down to the grassroots.
The Director of Planning, Research and Statistics explained that, with the policies implemented, the ministry has been able to achieve a lot in its 2 years of existence. He spoke further on some of the achievements.
The ministry has been able to develop what we can call the Unified National Social Register, where a document anybody can go to anytime to take any kind of information about poor people in Nigeria, as well as poor households, and then internally displaced persons, and people affected by insurgency, conflicts, and banditry. So that is one major achievement the ministry has recorded. Another one is the establishment of the Disability Commission, a commission for disabled people. Over the years, the disabled, or people, we call them people with special needs, in Nigeria have clamored for a commission for themselves, a commission that can take care of their needs and their challenges. This ministry has recorded that achievement by establishing the commission, approved by the President and inaugurated by the Honorable Minister.
Mr. Raphael Obi urges Nigerians to believe in the policies of the government which are geared towards the betterment of its citizens.
My message to Nigerians is to believe in the government and its policies, that they are real and they are working. And government is responsible and is doing everything to make sure that the Nigerians have a decent life.
The program is Service to Humanity. Along the lines of research and statistics, data gathering is ongoing towards increasing the number of beneficiaries in the homegrown school feeding program. Our next report will take us to some schools in the FCT where the enumeration exercise was carried out. Details in a moment.
The National Homegrown School Feeding Program was flagged off in the FCT in the last quarter of 2019 by the Honorable Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajiya Sadiya Umar Farouk. Barely 3 months after the program kicked off in the FCT, the COVID-19 pandemic broke out, causing a lockdown affecting schools and other sectors of the economy. Because the FCT was among states most affected by COVID-19, school children in the FCT were amongst those who benefited from the modified homegrown school feeding, where take-home rations were distributed to pupils in primary 1 to 3 of public schools. With the return to normalcy, the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs in March 2021 announced that the National Homegrown School Feeding Program is set to commence across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. Not only was the program going to resume, a directive of President Muhammadu Buhari will see the government increasing the number of pupils benefiting from the initiative by an additional 5 million.
I'm also pleased to inform you that the Ministry has commenced the National Homegrown School Feeding Program. A total of 9,196,823 pupils in classes 1 to 3 in public primary schools will receive one nutritious meal daily in all the 54,619 schools, public schools nationwide, public primary schools. The program is being expanded to accommodate an additional 5 million children in line with the directives of His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari.
To further prepare schools in the FCT for the resumption of the school feeding program, the Minister on Tuesday, 26 May 2021, flagged off the distribution of kitchen utensils and aprons to vendors involved in the exercise. The plan, however, is to scale up the numbers while verifying the actual number of pupils being fed. That is why an enumeration exercise is being carried out all over the country. The exercise has commenced in the FCT. At LGEA Primary School Galajimawa and LGEA Primary School Wuse 6, members of the National Youth Service Corps who are involved in the enumeration took the details of the pupils. The exercise involves taking the name, biometrics and picture of every child benefiting from the program for the purpose of verification.
I was the one taking primary 1 to...
Some of the food vendors on ground who are waiting eagerly for the program to resume fully in the FCT speak glowingly of the impact it had when it ran in 2019.
You know, we started from 90, before primary 2 become 100 and something, only one class. You know, the moment you start feeding them because they love the food, they will start increasing. The number will be increasing. It's because we stop cooking, they decrease. If you start now, you see the number increase. Even only one class with 100 and something. That is how it be. They love the feeding. They enjoy it. Quite okay.
When I give them, they feel fine. They are happy. Even me too. They are eating. They are eager to eat the food. And me too, I'm happy.
Teachers and pupils alike in the schools visited also commended the initiative and the impact it had in the education of the youth.
First of all, I want to thank the Honorable Minister of Humanitarian Affairs for introducing this program. So, in fact, since the beginning of this program, we have been doing well.
Before, we have only 120, but since the government started this home feeding, children are more than 150 now. So that is part of the impact on our children. And some children are happy to come to school every time because of the home feeding.
I have to thank them for producing food for us. I want to thank federal government for feeding us. Thank you. God bless you.
Over 9 million pupils are currently benefiting from the National Homegrown School Feeding Program. The number is expected to reach 14 million pupils by 2023.
The program Service to Humanity concludes with a report of the ongoing distribution of engagement letters and tablets to independent monitors across the country. Sokoto State is where we visited to bring you details of how the exercise went. Keep watching.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, was represented at the distribution exercise by the Permanent Secretary Bashir Noura Al-Ali, who reiterated the mandate for the creation of the National Social Investment Programs by President Muhammadu Buhari in 2016. The Permanent Secretary added that the devices distributed are equipped with an application that will be used to record monitoring activities of the trained monitors. He encouraged the monitors to carry out their work themselves without involving a third party, even as he explained the scope of their work.
A few of them. This includes number 1, routine monitoring of all programs under the National Social Investment Program in their assigned local government areas. Number 2, provision of evidence-based report of findings in the field. Number 3, submission of various categories of reports in accordance with the set timelines. Number 4, attending all trainings and meetings as required by the ministry. And number 5, other duties that may be assigned by the ministry.
Representing the Governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwal, the Commissioner of Women and Children Affairs, Ummi Abdullahi, applauded the NPIP initiation in Sokoto State. She also reiterated the need for monitoring of the program in the state.
No doubt our people have benefited in this laudable program, especially with the conditional cash transfer and the school feeding program. However, there is need to do more, especially in the supervision of the program. Our state has a very large land mass. Some places are not accessible by car. Motorcycles have to be used. Hence the need for this kind of intervention from the ministry.
Stakeholders in their goodwill messages lauded the National Social Investment Programs, which they consider as life-changing interventions. 176 independent monitors in Sokoto State received their engagement letters and tablets. They expressed their appreciation to the federal government and minister and their readiness in carrying out the tasks ahead.
For you, the youth and future of your family.
This morning now, you build a very new success into my life. This money that I've collected today, I did not expect it.
Business will be very big.
I'm very grateful to the federal government for giving me this money.
On that note, we wrap up the program Service to Humanity. Let's do this again same time next week. Have faith in government policies and programs designed to take the nation to the next level. I remain Habibu Zakzak, urging you to stay safe.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, NEWAGE TV, and don't forget to like, share, and comment.